Oh, that's a brilliant ball in, and of all people, it's Bernardo Silva, probably the shortest man on the pitch. What a chance for number 2.
And we arrive in the final third, but in the final third we were not good in our 1-against-1. So in this competition, the opponents didn't give you much chances, you have to score.
Cancelo, oh, it's another brilliant ball, and Bernardo Silva tees up Jesus, and City do have their second goal. In a very good position to make it through to the quarter-finals of the Champions League.
Good evening, welcome along to We're Not Really Here. And that message there says it all, doesn't it? Let's finish the job. 90 minutes stands in the way of us progressing forward in the Champions League. We have the small matter of Borussia Monchengladbach to get past. Budapest Puskás Arena is our home from home for tonight, named after a player of great technique, passion and flair, arguably one of the best world football I've ever seen. We're going to be hoping to see some of that in our last 16 tie against Monchengladbach. 2-0 lead from the first leg. Opening goal will definitely be key tonight when play gets underway in just over an hour's time. But before all of that, we can get into this fixture and much, much more. Now, as you probably know by now, I get very nervous for European nights, but I'm being looked after and kept under a safety blanket of Nedum Onuoha and Kevin Horlock. Gentlemen, so great to have you back on. Kevin, how are you?
I'm good, mate. Waiting for the hairdressers to open. like it looks like you are too, mate, but other than that, all good.
You would be right in thinking that, hence the beanies all the time. And
yeah,
Nedum,
same for me. I'm waiting for the hairdresser as well.
Well, I'll be there. We're nearly there. But we've got a few games of football to happen before I think we can think about getting our hair for the chop. Remember, this is the place where you can get the Manchester City starting 11 first, only on We're Not Really Here. And I think I'm able to bring you that starting 11 now. It looks like this, chosen, of course, by our manager, Pep Guardiola. He's gone for Ederson in goal. João Cancelo, Ruben Diaz, John Stones and Kyle Walker at the back. It's looking like a middle three of Rodri Holding with Gundogan and De Bruyne in front of him, and a forward three of Bernardo Silva, Riyad Mahrez and Phil Foden. Looking to our bench, very strong as always. Zach Stefan, Scott Carson. Ake returns after that lengthy layoff from injury. Aymeric Laporte, Zinchenko, Benjamin Mendy, Eric Garcia, Fernandinho, and some attacking choices in Ferran Torres, Sergio Aguero, Gabriel Jesus and Raheem Sterling. So, Kevin, looking at that team, were there any surprises for you when you saw it come through?
Not really, no. Obviously, he's got an unbelievable squad to pick from. Have to give minutes to people. It's very forward thinking, we've got to say that. Obviously, without a recognised actual centre forward. But that, for me, causes more problems for Borussia because it's so difficult to pick up and get organised to stop.
Yeah, and off that, Nedum, who are you thinking might assume that false nine role? There's a lot of fluidity there. It's always tough to choose, isn't it?
Yeah, there certainly is. I think in terms of the players that are on the field today, the last time I saw was Phil Foden play the false nine. I think it was against Liverpool at Anfield. So I'd expect him to maybe adopt that position. But that's the thing with these players. They're so intelligent that they just need to understand the role. And I think under Pep, he does a very good job of teaching people how he wants them to play. So, yes, it might be Foden, but in the same breath, it could be Mahrez, it could be Bernardo Silva, which is credit to them.
And as we look to the other end of the pitch, of course, there's not a recognised left-back. I mean, apart from Mendy, we usually see Zinchenko there. Are we thinking then it'll probably be Cancelo that assumes that left-back role, Kyle on the right?
Yeah, he'd be given the tag of left-back, but we've seen him play too often there, and he very rarely stays there. He finds himself centre of the pitch. He basically just goes there and beats another body and gets on the ball and causes havoc. So, again, that's another thing in the pot for Borussia to try and deal with. It's going to be really difficult for him.
Yeah, do you know as well, with the whole positional stuff, I think these days we probably have to look at football in two ways, in attack and in defence. Because when it comes down to defending, yes, you can expect to see Cancelo out there on the left-hand side. But in terms of attack, it's just about being in the right position. And Pep's right position for him doesn't always involve him essentially providing all the width on that side. So it's good, it's fluidity. But, you know, at the end of the day, City have had a lot of success over recent months through their defence. And that comes from people defending, even though they might be playing a false left-back, a false nine, a false whatever. The fact is, it's real result.
Nedum, I think it was you that mentioned it to me, I think. But talking about how obviously we're used to seeing the overlaps. But actually then with Cancelo dropping in, what it then creates is the one-on-one situation rather than crowding that side of the pitch.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, I know because myself and Kev here, this could get super technical, but
I'm here for it.
No, I'm trying not to be really, really technical. But I think one thing about City, in terms of the attackers that they have, they're obviously very good team players, but they're also very good one-on-one as well. So I think in some of the tweaks that Pep puts into the side sometimes is to create isolations and create space for people. And from speaking to one of my friends who played for Swansea, and he played against City in the Cup, he said one of the biggest issues he had was the fact that you're always having to make a decision. Do you go to this person? Do you go to that person? Whereas normally for most people, it's like the person in front of you is your duel. This is the person you're supposed to battle against. But now you might go to him and create a problem for somebody else somewhere else. So there's a lot more going on in the game than you used to. And yeah, they create a lot of isolations, a lot of 1v1s and stuff like this. And the last thing you want is to be left on an island with someone like Riyad Mahrez.
No, isn't it? I mean, and he is in scintillating form at the moment. And I was reading this week, Gundogan's done another brilliant interview, a great insight into kind of where he's assessing his season. But talks about how Cancelo dropping in obviously gives him that extra body in midfield. But how key is that to build up? Obviously, Kev, you know the midfield role well. Having them extra bodies, is it a massive plus that you have over your opponent?
Yeah, 100%, because we all know Manchester City have a lot of the ball. So possession is really high. And then having other bodies in there as well causes havoc for the opposition.
Yeah.
Normally, you know, if you're playing against a 4-3-3, I've got 3 midfielders in here, we've got 3 against them. It's very much structured, black or white, but this team, there's so many grey areas, people popping up in different areas. It must be a nightmare. But credit to Pep, Nedum's just touched on it. They know what they're doing. It's not just him wandering in and just joining in willy-nilly. He knows what he's going in there for, and if it breaks down, he knows when to recover, or someone knows to recover for him. So in Pep we trust.
In Pep we really do trust. Of course, it was so great to see Aguero return to the starting 11 in our game against Fulham, which took place at the weekend, which we'll go to in a little bit. But he's made it to the bench, and I wanted to ask you both this. Just given the way the season has played, and I think we all make the case, we always want to see Aguero on the pitch. But are we better suited at the moment and more of a threat when we play the false 9?
Oh, that's dangerous talk from you right there. That's dangerous talk.
Listen,
considering he's one of the best strikers in Premier League history, that's dangerous talk.
But this is what I'm here to do, you know, ask those difficult questions.
I think it shows the strength of the club that they don't necessarily need to have Sergio Aguero playing every single game. But don't get me wrong, Sergio Aguero on the field does not make any team weaker, especially not this Man City side. And I think tactically it gives the opposition something different to think about, because, you know, with Sergio, he's an incredible player, incredible talent, incredible goal scorer. And I think he's a great number 9. But as you were alluding to with the sort of false 9, it's a different type of threat. And most teams aren't ready to be able to deal with a false 9 type threat. And don't get me wrong, they struggle to deal with Sergio Aguero as history has been told. But yeah, it's another option. But don't be surprised if we start seeing Sergio as the season progresses and it becomes crunch time and you need a goal. You know, if there's one person probably in all of the Man City squad that you could rely on for that, it's the guy that's sitting on the bench tonight, unfortunately.
And I guess actually for this important run now, Kev, you know, and we are still competing on all 4 fronts, all 4 trophies still available. Having someone like that, whether they start on the pitch or that presence on the bench, that almost has its own impact on the opposing team, doesn't it?
I think every team or club in the world would like a Sergio Aguero. Aguero is incredible. Probably not right up to match fitness as yet, but perfect timing. Obviously, games coming thick and fast. Want to progress on all fronts, so yeah, it's a great thing, and it shows that Pep's prepared to drop him in, leave him out. Aguero, look, Nedum's touched on it. Greatest for me, great striker the Premiership's ever seen, and to give him minutes, then leave him back out, shows he knows how to manage players.
Yeah.
I think for now as well, just to be a fanboy for Sergio, seeing his name on a team sheet, it's like it's written in different ink. Whether he's starting or he's on the bench, he's somebody who you have to take notice of. And if you're an opposition team and you see that his name isn't there at all, that's a relief. But seeing it anywhere on there is a nightmare, whether you see him taking the kickoff or you see him standing on the sidelines about to come on. So he's still got that status for me.
I've always wondered if sometimes, you know, like Pep will just tell him to go warm up just to like drop that seed of thought, you know, in the opponent's mind.
Listen, as a defender, I used to be seeing people warming up and I thought, please don't sit back down. I'll be honest with you. And Sergio is definitely one of those guys.
Another question, and I for one, I'm so buzzing to see him get a start again. And you touched about him playing possibly through the middle. Phil Foden, have you seen enough now from him, Kevin, to say that he is warranting that start in our 11 every game?
100%. 100%. Otherwise, Pep wouldn't put him in there. He's an incredible talent. Obviously, still very young and still got so much to learn. His career could go anywhere. And I don't mean that in terms of clubs, because he's at the best club in my opinion for him, and he's got the best manager. But he could be one of the all-time greats in my opinion. And it's interesting to hear he potentially plays central. I think he's more effective there. He's done brilliant when he's played off the left or off the right. But in that central area, it gives him the options to go either way and be a real goal threat, which he's become as well.
Question off that as well, and only because I've heard Pep talk about this, about the rhythm of play, about knowing when to speed up and slow down. Now, to some, if I would, in its simplest terms, what is he talking about when he talks about Phil, finding his game in that sense?
I think I'd probably relate that to the whole team ethic, because I think the three at the back, whenever they're playing, they move the ball well. They're moving the opposition side to side to side. Rodri's in there as well, doing the same sort of thing. But then very quickly it goes from like a Rodri to a Gundogan or a De Bruyne or whatever, and then there's a quick pass, and then the whole tempo changes. And you start to see players go from standing in the right positions to now being very, very dynamic. And I think a lot of City's goals come from that, because when they are moving the ball and they're moving the opposition, it is just deployed to basically set up the next thing. Right. And then Phil Foden, I think, instead of, say, sometimes coming back to be a part of the slower stuff, he's one of the key people on the field who I think injects tempo in terms of making the right forward pass, supporting the right pass, getting himself into the box, maybe taking somebody on, and that is, I think, when City are at their best in terms of being a goal threat, because they can control the game, say, deeper, but when it comes to being an attack, for as good as individual talent is, they just have this switch and this change of tempo, which I think most teams would really struggle to defend against.
Really, really struggle indeed. A nice one. And you mentioned a player there, Kevin De Bruyne. I can't not mention him because he's come back from that injury now. I mean, I think, we expect him to come back from an injury and pick up straight where he kind of left off from, which is near enough done, but it is always hard, isn't it, I think, for a player to get back that tempo and rhythm.
The levels he was at was incredible, so it was always going to be difficult to come straight back in at that, and it's credit to the other players. It sounds crazy because when he did get injured, everyone was going, oh look, Manchester City are missing De Bruyne now, will the wheels fall off slightly, will they drop points, and the other lads have just took it on to another level, and we're sitting here now saying we didn't actually miss Kevin De Bruyne, which back when he got injured, it's incredible to think that was even considering saying that.
Yeah, for sure. And sorry, Dave.
No, you go right.
It was kind of, but also funny now though that there seems to have been this shift over the last 7 months, and maybe it's lessons learned from when we missed Company, obviously, and didn't replace him, or losing David. But actually now we obviously have individual superstars, but it doesn't affect how the team plays.
I think the team identity in the last 3-4 months has been a huge strength, and I think that's why ultimately they've won as many games as they have done, because I think when someone like a Kevin De Bruyne drops out, the person that comes in doesn't get asked to play exactly the same as Kevin De Bruyne. When Sergio drops out, the person isn't being asked to play exactly the same as Sergio. They're being asked to play the role of the 9 within the setup that Pep wants, or being asked to play the role of a 10 that Pep wants. And the players who are on the sidelines, who wait for the opportunity, they listen, they learn, and they come in and they add value to the team. Whereas in the past, and to be fair, we're probably seeing with some teams around the league this year who've had some significant injuries, their identity was based on the individuals.
Yes.
But in this setup for City, it's about the team.
I think that's a really important point that Nedum's made there. They're not being asked to be Kevin De Bruyne. They've all got, obviously, their qualities and what they bring to the table, and Pep knows that. And I think he knows, obviously, which is why he's the best manager in the world for me, he knows how to use the qualities of each individual.
Yeah. Well, speaking of the man himself, Kev and Nedum, here he is now. This is Pep Guardiola speaking ahead of our second leg fixture against Borussia Monchengladbach, taking place in Budapest tonight.
I did not any special reason. So we decided for these players, and I could decide for another one. So we arrived here all together. We're going to do a good game today. No, we decide for this team like I could have decided for another one. So every manager choose the team that he believes he's going to help to win the games, and we arrive here all together, and we're going to continue like this. Champions League is 2 games, 2 legs, so we got a good result in the first one, but still 90 minutes. I know perfectly the German teams, the physicality, the speed, the pace they have up front, and we have to do a good 90 minutes to try to win the game. But the target is win the game, and after we'll see what happens and the results.
After, we will see what happens indeed. He mentioned there, of course, it's a game of two legs. We won the first one 2-0, got those 2 away goals, and this is being played, same place it was played last time, Budapest in the Puskás Arena, but of course now we're the home team. Would that have any little effect on the team, do you think, thinking that we were coming here to the Etihad and now we're having to play it where we played it before, or not really?
I think it might be a slight disappointment, but as we've seen with the team, essentially for the duration of Pep's time there, it's business as usual. The fact is they want to win the tie, I think, and in some ways playing in a technically neutral venue again, it kind of puts an emphasis on the fact you just have to win the game. I think if maybe for some people coming home it might let you guard down a little bit or whatever, but the fact is it's the same place that you've seen before, so you have to be at the highest standard. You have to win the game because the football can change just in a second. Like looking back to the first game, the team that had the biggest chance in the last moment was Monchengladbach. If they would have scored that goal there and it's 2-1 heading into this fixture again, it's a completely different tie. So I think in some ways the familiarity of being in that space and knowing that they have to go again and win the match, I think that will probably put them in a good spot to where they'll probably have a very good game, in my opinion.
I think Pep referenced it, you might have heard at the start of the show, that there was a couple one-on-one situations throughout that game that maybe would have put the game out of sight, Kevin, and that's something I think that we've still got room to improve on in the Champions League, do you think?
Yeah, in the previous tie, it was a little bit like we looked a little bit second gear. We looked like if Mönchengladbach did score, we would have upped it and scored more. And there was chances. I'm a big believer of, obviously Pep would have wanted to play at home, and I think the only reason that being is so that the travelling wasn't involved. I think I said it in the last show. This Manchester City squad and team are capable of going anywhere in the world and beating anybody. It's not like years gone by where the pitches aren't great. All the pitches are immaculate. So it's a good football pitch, which means Manchester City have every chance of doing well and winning the game again tonight.
Is there always that, you mentioned about the great football pitches, but is there always that slight thing of when you're taking the game outside of the English game, that there is some adjustments and different styles of play you have to find that necessarily wouldn't work per se in the Premier League? Or is that a thing of the past?
Do you mean in terms of like a foreign team style?
Yes. I only ask style-wise because I've heard the players talk about, and we had Taylor Harwood-Bellis on, this was right at the start of the season, but he talked about how it was such an indifferent environment even on the benches. Yeah. The European teams call for a lot more. More. So I wondered if there's also a similar thing on the pitch.
I think it potentially is, but the way that Man City are, they try and control games anyway. Their identity is one which basically shines through in whichever game they play against. So even though they might be a team that has a different style, City still want to dominate possession, still want to control the game and stuff like that. But for me, I think a possible bigger variable, even though, we could have arguments and debates about refereeing in England. Yeah. When you do go on the continent and a referee is from somewhere else, the way that they view the game might be different to the way that an English referee does. So as a consequence, yes, you can be committed and do whatever, but I've seen some yellow cards in Europe which would never even be a foul in England and so on. So maybe there's a slight tweak there in terms of how you control yourself on the field, because, as I say, you never know realistically, although they try and be consistent with UEFA, you never know what the standard of refereeing is going to be like, because what's right for them might be wrong for the Premier League, in my opinion. But
in terms of style of player, it's crazy. I think a lot of clubs around the world, I've seen it in League Two, they're trying to play like Pep's teams. Yeah. So they're playing out. So there's not a massive difference there. But I'm with Nedum on the referees can be slightly different and see things a little bit different.
And I guess that's then where Pep talks about, it's on us to make sure that we go through where cutting out those errors and taking those chances means we take it out of their hands, so to speak, if decisions don't go our way.
Yeah, of course. He'd be looking to dominate possession again, create chances, and I think you alluded to it. The first goal's massive. Yeah, you wouldn't want to give Borussia a sniff because it could change things, not just football-wise, but mentality of the lads. So if the first goal's vital, if they get that, I think it could be a comfortable night and could go on to win really comfortably in the end.
You've put my nerves at there a little bit of ease there. Thank you, Kev. Let's take a look then at the team that we're going to be taking on, of course, over in Budapest. Borussia Monchengladbach are lining up like this, and as I always say when I'm learning the teams, apologies on the pronunciations. Summer starts in net. We have Lena, Ben Sabani, Ginter and Aludai. We also have Neuhaus, Zachariah, Stindl, Hoffman, Embolo and Thuram.
Oh no, he said Thuram.
No.
Oh no, he said Thuram. Oh god.
Oh no.
Is it Lilian Thuram's son?
Yes.
Guys,
yes.
that's...
Oh no, he said Thuram.
I'm going to leave
Do you mean Lilian
there.
Thuram?
I've never heard of Lilian Thuram. I've heard of Lilian Thuram. He was iconic.
Nerves. I'm nerves. That's what... Listen, I'm going to leave you in the capable hands of Nedum and Kevin. Thanks for joining us. But there's a couple names there. I mean, Kev, we were looking to... It's slightly different to the team that we came up against a few weeks ago. They had a few injuries. That's looking more like full strength, and they're going to be at the races, like you said.
Yeah, Thuram comes in. He's obviously a goal threat and scored goals. Plié drops to the bench, and he's one that scored goals in this competition, which slightly surprised me. But I think they're not in great form since we last played them. So whether they've shuffled around and trying to find a formula, I think they probably see this as a game where they can let the shackles off. I think nobody really gives them a chance. So it's a break from their league, and will they play with freedom? I'm looking forward to seeing how they go, because do they come out and play Manchester City like we've seen Fulham do the weekend and everyone applauded them, but they end up losing 3-0, or do they sit in like they did last time, which becomes tiring?
Yeah.
It's difficult to say how they're going to go tonight.
It's, and off what you were saying there, Kevin, I mean, this Monchengladbach side, they are without a win in 8 games. They've lost for the 6th game in a row following a 3-1 defeat to Augsburg on Friday night. And they've only ever emerged victorious in one of their 7 meetings with Man City. That was a 3-1 win in 1978 UEFA Cup. So, I mean, it all seems to be in our favour.
They'll be looking forward to tonight, then, won't they?
Yeah, nothing to worry about at all, yeah.
Aguero on the bench.
Everything's great.
But it's funny because you mentioned there, you know, they how are they going to set up? And you look at the current form and go, it's going to be tough for them. But that could also, you know,
to be honest, if to try and put some hope in for them, they're probably happy to not be playing in Germany this week, because the pressure they'll be under back home and the criticism they'll be receiving for a team that qualified for the Champions League to be playing as badly as they are doing currently, or rather not getting the results that they should be, to step away from that, to feel a different type of pressure, the pressure of being an underdog. Like I say, it's different. If they do play with more freedom, then great, but I still don't think they'll be good enough to beat City.
Yeah.
But again, this is a test for City, because if they are clinical, and like Kev was saying, if they limit mistakes, City could really break their spirit very, very soon, very quickly. And even then, you play without pressure, but the reality of the situation is you're coming up against a better team in better form, and they've got momentum.
I think in the first leg as well, obviously I was here to watch it with you, that they continue to play out.
Yeah.
And only really successfully did that 1 or 2 times. And even when they didn't have enough bodies forward. And Manchester City pickpocketed them a few times, and on another day would have scored a lot more goals. So will they continue doing that? Will they go old school and squeeze up the pitch and go long? I very much doubt it. So it's gonna be a tough night for them, in my opinion.
And you know, we look at the team, and you mentioned there they've kind of bought a goal scorer back, and they need to score. Obviously, we've got those 2 away goals. What do you think is, and who are we to say, but interesting, is City's approach? You know, have them first solid 20 minutes, don't let them into the game with a goal, or does City go out and try and get that first goal before them to kill the spirits? I think
City are very good at controlling the game through possession. I wouldn't necessarily have them being the team that says just be solid for 20 minutes, because like they've got attacking threat and incredible talents everywhere, and the aim is to go forward. So, I don't know. I think for City, it doesn't matter who they're playing against. I think the standard is you try and control the game, create chances, take your chances. And in recent weeks, I think they've always done enough to just win the game. But then there was a moment, I think it was the last time I was here, when they played against Wolves and it went to 1-1. And then they hit that gear, which we've not seen for a little while. So if City get anywhere near that, I think it's going to be a case of going out there and not trying to stay safe or like not get injured or whatever. Just be clinical. It's a chance to build your confidence by winning a game in the knockout rounds of the Champions League. If you play well in that team, you might be playing the next game. If you play well in that team, you might be playing in the next game in the Champions League, and you don't know who that's going to be against.
Yeah.
So the fact of the matter is, you're not going to be coasting, because firstly, it's a knockout, so Gladbach can do something. But as I say, in terms of team performance, you have to play well as Pep Guardiola. If you drop your standards, you'll be dropped from the team. And thankfully, for the last 4 months or so, we've not seen any of that.
I think they go all guns blazing. I think they're going to know Borussia are still going to try and play out, because that's that ethos and what they do. I think Manchester City team are stronger at pressing and stopping that with De Bruyne in the team. I know we talk about De Bruyne, the free kick taker, the goal scorer, the raking long passes. he works unbelievably hard, and I think he just gives us a real basis to go and press.
Yeah.
And if we do that, I think we'll nick the ball high up the pitch, and with the forward players that we've got on the pitch, there could be opportunities.
Final word on this, on that high press, like you say, the energy. The only player I think that may be on the bench that would also bring that energy when he's been on is Gabriel Jesus. I think we could all think back to that Real Madrid game last season when he had an unbelievable time on that left-hand side. But is that more the preferred approach, do you think, in Europe, is the high energy, seeing that press, and us then doing the things we've seen City do? Because I don't know if it's fair for me to say this, I feel like the press has dropped off slightly over the last few games watching City, in the Premier League in particular. Is that a thing of them saving their energy for this run of final games, or am I just reading way too much?
I don't know. I think
it?
that's the way they like to go about it. Does he change it for certain games? Potentially. But more often than not, it's press high, go and get the ball back. Look, they do it with structure. We're not talking about lads just running after the ball and working hard. They do it with a structure and showing people certain ways where they know certain people are being. It's something they work on. Have they took their foot off doing that? Potentially a little bit, but I think that would always be the way.
Yeah.
And to be honest as well, like, you're trying to read between the lines in some ways. I'm not fully with it. But,
No.
In terms of the pressing situation, I think it depends on the team. One thing that stuck with me is a time when I was here recently and Pep said, we look at the opposition and we look at what makes them good and we look at what their weaknesses are and stuff. And he says he tries to take away their strengths. So in some games they might go and press really high. In some games they might go and drop off more because they know that, the press, the playing out from the back is like a key part of the strategy and so on. So he's constantly playing with the opposition. He's not somebody who sounds like he's planning 3, 4, 5 games ahead. It's like, this is the task at hand. This is what we do. And I think every team that they come up against is ultimately like subtly different in terms of what their approach is. Mm-hmm. So for some games it's perfect, other games it's not. There's some games, I think like a West Ham, where the keeper would roll it to a centre back. You could come and press them, but then they're going to boom it long, and now they've got like 3v3 down the other side.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
yeah,
so
yeah.
there's more to it. There's more nuance to it. But the fact is, for those guys, if the time's right to press, they press. It's automatic, and when they do it, as Kevin was saying, it's from a structure. And lo and behold, look how many chances they can create when they do swarm together. And I know myself, as a limited player that I was, there's nothing worse than somebody in your face and you're about 30 yards away from your goal. Trust me.
I'm not sure about limited. I'm not having that, Nedum.
I'm retired, so I can say it now.
I'm not having that. Let's look back then to our game at the weekend. We took on a Fulham side that was well on the up, of course, with their win over Anfield. And it was quite a different lineup, of course. We saw Sergio Aguero back on the starting 11, Gabriel Jesus also partnering him, and we, of course, saw Ferran Torres make his way into the starting 11. So it was quite a few different elements to the games we'd seen previously. Kevin, what did you make of the 3-0 win over Fulham?
Yeah, it was a good win in the end. Obviously, you just mentioned the results they had got. We had to be patient. It took a little bit of time, but when it came, it was really comfortable in the end. It's just, I would love to be a fly on the wall and be able to pick Pep's brain. With the league so close to being done, dare I say it, does it now give him an opportunity to look at games differently? I don't know. Or does he still want to... Look, he's a serial winner. We've said it so often. But does it give him a chance to approach games different? Does it give him an opportunity with the league lead so good at the minute? Does it give him an opportunity to plan ahead and look at the Champions League game, which we know every blue and the club are crying out to win?
What do you think then? Do you think...
I love watching Sergio Stone score those goals.
Oh.
He's just prolific, isn't he? He's absolutely prolific.
I'm gonna. You know what my new nickname for him now is? The Barnsley Beckenbauer.
Oh, listen, I'm all for it. All for it. I think this game here, like Fulham, for their position, were in good form. They just beat Liverpool the week before, and they were on the rise, you could say. So it was never going to be exceptionally easy. But City went about it in a business-like manner, and obviously Pep rotated the squad a little bit. But you can rotate the squad and then still have, the centre there, Diaz, Stones, and Laporte playing there. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
With a Cancelo, and you're looking at Sergio Aguero and stuff like that. And we're thinking, he's rotated 7 players. This is going to be that. No, because there's exceptional talent there anyway. So in the game itself, I think overall they controlled it quite well. I think at times they made a few mistakes, and we're used to seeing them not make those mistakes. But the second half came, the early goal was there. And then that broke the spirit of Fulham, because they don't score a lot of goals. They've not got many wins at home. Mm-hmm. And it put them in a position whereby they have to come forward. And any team that wants to come forward against City with the attack that they have will leave themselves very open at the back. And then when you want to... There's this paradox as well. I think when people play against City, especially big defenders, they want to show that they're good on the ball. But they're coming up against people who can take the ball from them. So they're trying to show character, show how good they are as players, like unfortunately, as was the case with Tosin. They try and do it. They get robbed, leads to a goal. But they don't want to just be booming it long, giving it back to City. So it was business as usual for City, clinical. Obviously, people would have liked to see them score in the first half and so on, but the fact of the matter is a 3-0 win away in the Premier League against this team that's fighting for their lives is definitely something you shouldn't turn up.
It's funny, isn't it? Because a lot of Blues who've been Blues for a number of years, as the minutes tick by, they get nervous, thinking, we're not going to score. I have full confidence in this City team scoring every game. But I know once you're Blue, you always think, typical City, it's not going to happen. And look, they're just ticking games off one by one, getting another 3 points and getting closer to the line. Yeah,
there seems to be a real maturity actually in the way now they're going about the business and that whole game by game, as we say. There was a final point I wanted to mention from the Fulham game, because we've not seen it too much, was we opted for the 5 at the back. And do you think maybe when we get further into Europe, say, that actually that will be a system we might see a bit more, or not for you?
I don't think he played it by chance.
Okay.
I think he's got a bigger plan for it. But then also there are people who want to get minutes. He wants to get some minutes into Ben Mendy and so on. But I think it's an option, and at times I think it worked out quite well because Fulham seemed keen to be trying to get him behind and things like that. But the City always had bodies there, and there's like key defenders that were there. So if you did have a lead and you did think you wanted to protect it in a slightly different manner to the way they do at the minute, then it's a good option. Like it did throw us off because we're not used to seeing it. But overall, like they can play in a 4, they can play in a 3, they can play in a 5. Very rarely does it become a 5, but they can do it and they can soak up pressure. But then still have some quality footballers ahead of it that can really cause damage to a team. Like you're talking about playing for 5, but yeah, Torres, Jesus, and Aguero playing up top as well, which is outrageous. If you know what I mean. So. Yeah, I think he's got a bigger plan for it, but in terms of opposition and whether they use it again, I think it really does depend whoever they get drawn against if they win this game here.
Yeah, depend on. I was going to say, do you think we could maybe see it more in Europe? That's where it might come into its
potentially. Yeah, he's probably obviously worked on it in training and used it in that game. It's just been the platform, isn't it? Whether it's a back 4, back 5, the fact that we City look so tight at the back, not conceding much, has given that platform. They've got so many good players ahead of them. If you're going to keep clean sheets, this team's winning games.
Yeah,
and they've been solid at the back this season.
Gentlemen, final word. Who are our biggest rivals when it comes to this competition? I'm asking you this because we're asking you at home as well. When you look at who is going through in the Champions League, if, fingers crossed, we can see through this game, we're 2-0 up, 2 away goals, so halfway there. Who are our biggest threat to claiming that first Champions League trophy?
Well, I think the obvious answer would be Bayern Munich, and they do have a great pedigree in the competition, especially in recent years. But around Europe now, there's certain teams who were the pinnacle of their leagues who aren't necessarily running away with their leagues, and you're seeing weaknesses. And I think Bayern this year, I don't think they're the same threat as they were the year before.
Interesting.
I don't think that they are. I think City could beat them, especially over 2 legs. So I will say them, but not to the same way I would say them. I would have said them a year ago.
Yeah. Apart from you, Kevin?
I would go along the same. I think the biggest threat to City in the Champions League is City. Obviously, everything gets built up and everyone's talking about Champions League. You've got to win Champions League. That must affect you, the mentality. It must come into your thinking because this team, this squad is good enough to win it. There's no doubt about it. And I said it last time I was on. I think you need a little bit of luck as well. We've seen it in years gone by. It could be players in form, players injured on opposition. It could be the dreaded VAR decisions for or against. You need a little bit of luck. But this team is, I think, as capable as winning it as anybody. And hopefully it proves right and this could be their year.
Fingers crossed indeed. Well, listen, WNRH is our hashtag on Twitter. If you want to get involved in that conversation, throw us in who you think it is in a couple of sentences. We'll be reading those as we go, and it's always great to hear from you. Remember, this is your show for all you brilliant people at home. Let's dig into the vault now, and I want you to cast your mind back to approximately 5 years ago when our game between Manchester City and Borussia Monchengladbach was called off due to heavy rain, would you believe, in Manchester? Shock. But it kind of made us thinking, were there any ever extreme weather conditions that either of you had played in that really come to mind, either whether the game was called off or, you've had to play through it? I mean, that is
torrential. I remember watching it. Look, we got unbelievable pitches these days. We got unbelievable staff, groundsmen that normally deal with rain. But this was coming down so quick, you just couldn't clear it in time. It was incredible. And look, we're used to rain here in Manchester, but on that night it was just unbelievable.
I mean, and listen, the pitches have always been top-notch, Kev, but I think there has been a real, importance put on pitches over the last 5-10 years. I mean, before that, I can't imagine some of the conditions that you'll have played in, and then you throw the weather on top, it must have been near enough impossible.
Yeah. Look, it didn't have the grass on back in the day. I don't remember. I don't remember too many bad days. Look, I remember the rain. Of course, I do. Being in Manchester 7 years, it rained a lot, but I don't remember anything too bad. The only time that the weather really bothered me was when we had crew on Boxing Day. We trained. Joe insisted on going to the hotel Christmas night, leaving our families. It was never going to be on because we didn't have undersoil heating back in the day. It was always going to be off. We turn up at the hotel, obviously desolate, no one there. Obviously being Christmas night, go to crew the next day, called off straight away. So that's the only time that the weather's really bothered me. I don't mind the rain. That's great for people with no pace because I could slide quicker than I could run. so I loved the rain. I would have loved to play on that night. Let me tell you.
But then harder for the longer balls, though. Would you say? Sometimes it runs them on a bit too much.
I don't care as long as I can run quicker. Kel.
Is that the main focus? Is it? What about for you, Nedum?
Well, to be fair, to jump on that point, I love a bit of rain as well.
Yeah.
Like, playing in wet games was top. Like the sliding thing.
Oh, nothing better.
Brilliant, yeah. Especially like from the times where you could make a big tackle and the crowd would go nuts for it. You know what I mean?
It does. It adds another level to it, doesn't it?
The only problem is back in the day, because all the kits were extra large. If you go down, they are heavy. Let me tell you, you've got your arms hanging down. But yeah, good times.
Sure. I think the most memorable one for me, weather-wise, was actually my last game of my career. It was in the United States, and they said it was going to be a bit of snow. So I went out for the warm-up, and there was a bit of snow. There's a bit of snow. But the game carried on and it carried on and carried on. And we're talking snow to the level where as you kick the ball, there's snow gathering on the ball. The ball's doubling weight, it's doubling in size and stuff like this. And the snow never stopped. Obviously, you can see I went for the short sleeves because I'm a tough nut.
Go on, Nedum,
you know what I mean?
You can take the kid out of Manchester.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean?
But it was insane, and it kept going and kept going to the point where I came off at the end, saying my goodbyes to the game and all that stuff. And I was on the touchline, and you couldn't see to the other side of the field.
Look at that.
It was absolutely outrageous. But the good thing for me, that was a very memorable moment because last game of my career, and I always remember it because it was the toughest game I've ever conditions I've ever had to deal with.
Wow.
And it ultimately made it a lot of fun. I was very cold for a long time afterwards, but it certainly was memorable.
Can you imagine them trying to do that here in the UK?
Wouldn't happen. A couple of players would go down injured because a snowflake hit them, probably. Be rolling around on the floor, asking for yellow cards off the ref.
Yeah, that's a fact.
Well played.
That's a fact.
That was very, very quick. I guess, it just saved that out in the UK. You can't, can you stop a game halfway through then once it started, is that?
That was the first time I played with an orange ball. But over there, because basically it's a mountain range that I lived in. When the snow comes, it comes. We're talking like a foot of snow in like an hour. And it will just keep going and keep going and keep going. But for them, it's like, meh, it's all right. We'll just snow plow it. We'll be fine.
I think the only problem is, obviously, referee-wise, they need to know where the penalty area is and lines are. So they probably shuffled the snow away at half-time.
No, it wasn't half-time. It was during the game. Every time the ball went down to one end, someone came out and was doing the penalty box for the other side. 2 minutes later, he's got to come and do it again. That's how bad it was, yeah.
Wow. Okay, I love that. I was also just thinking that if that had even been entertained to try and happen over, it'd be the first sprinkle, wouldn't it? Go, no, it's just not happening.
Listen, from what I saw that day, we're talking apocalypse in England.
Yeah.
But over there, it's like, well, let's just carry on. Let's ski to work.
We saw a little clip when we were prepping, and I really enjoyed the commentators going how to play in a bit of snow, and I'm thinking, a bit of snow? That is a blizzard that you're playing in there. Do you know what I mean?
It stops all the players with vision, though, doesn't it? So it's a level playing field.
Yeah,
Kevin De Bruyne is not in raking passes in that snow, let me tell you. He probably still could.
No, it would be
he probably still could.
You'd just have to stand there and the ball would just arrive out of nowhere, wouldn't it? Gents, thank you. It's always lovely to dig into the vault and look back on some of your time, and of course your final game as well, Nedum. Now we want to take a little look at something that I'm sure you two will have had to do in your career time, but this week it was a bit of filming time for our Manchester City team, where they have to get up amongst a green screen and say some lines and maybe even do a bit of acting. And we have the bloopers from that day now. It's really good.
What? Sign up. We'll break it up into little bits to make it easy, yeah? Okay. So, I've been doing that all day.
Sign up for the Blue Run 2021.
Yeah. Hallelujah. Ketchup. In Argentina, ketchup.
Ketchup? We all like ketchup. I've got a headache.
Okay.
With Cadbury.
With Cadbury's.
Alex, I'm trying to work here, Paul. Sorry. No, just tell you, you know.
Hey, listen up, Korea. Yeah?
Yeah.
Hey, listen up, Ukraine. Took the burger? No. It took make the burger. Okay,
Yeah.
make the burger. Okay.
To win exciting prizes.
So many exciting prizes.
You could sign a bit more exciting.
Hey, what's your reason to play FIFA Online 4?
Brilliant.
Brilliant.
No, sorry.
You got it.
Actor, no?
It's beautiful.
I can cry if you want.
Okay, I'll do it again.
Finish.
Yes.
Thank you.
We finished.
Brilliant.
Oh, you love to see it. Gabriel Jesus can cry on tap. Tell you what, it's a tough skill, that. I mean, how is that for players? I always think it must be kind of that kind of funny, bit awkward side to the job in a way, isn't it?
Yeah, to say the very least. I think some of those guys are much better with the ball at their feet than they are with a camera in their face. But it's a necessary evil. You know, the game goes beyond just going out there on the field. You know, they've got so many sponsors. They're trying to involve fans and things like this. So yeah, you have to do it. And, you know, you could see there, even though they weren't brilliant, they get it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, no one's crying about it. But to be fair, I'd rather be doing that than the thing that happened to me. I think it's 2007 under Sven-Goran Eriksson.
Yep.
We started the season well. We were up near the top of the league, and we were going to be playing Chelsea at the weekend. And for some reason, we had this limited edition, I think it was a Sergio Tacchini tracksuit. Big, bright purple thing. Ill-fitting, shiny, the works. I was like, this is a bit suspect, but sure, whatever. Took it down to Stamford Bridge. Everyone's saying, this is it, City have arrived. Lost 6-0. I can tell you, it wasn't that one. It wasn't that one. But I can tell you for a fact we hadn't arrived. We had not arrived. It was a false dawn, and we looked a shambles.
Did you attribute it to yourselves, or are you attributing it to the tracky top and the poor fitting?
Well, so as you guys saw before, I was speaking to the keeper on the day, Joe Hart, just recently. And it was such a bad day that one of the main newspapers, not like a controversial one, actually put out a missing person sign for the left back on the day, which was Javier Garrido.
Oh,
so that's toxic.
Brutal.
It was toxic, but it's hilarious because I remember how we played that day as well. And in fairness, a lot of other people missing as well.
Yeah.
And I'll always remember it because we looked at shambles arriving, and we looked even worse when we left.
And safe to say those tracksuits never saw the light of day again, I don't think.
Burned.
Well, we do have to ask, though, what we want to do is, because we couldn't find this tracky top or you wearing it, and we all know that the internet has answers to everything, so...
Full tracksuit, by the way, not just tracky top.
Full tracksuit.
Yep.
Can you be the person that finds this full tracksuit? And if you can find Nedum wearing the tracksuit, then I'm sure I'll be able to sort out some prize.
It was shiny enough to make you remember to take the bins out. Let's just say that.
There you go. That's what you're looking for. And we're saying bright purple.
Shiny.
Okay, shiny, bright purple. Please go out and investigate. Internet, do your thing. And as I say, if there is a picture, I'm going to take the presenter decision on this right now. If there's a picture you find of Nedum wearing it, I will sort out some form of city prize. You'll see I can't promise prizes because I haven't got one to give, but I will sort one out. If you can find it, send it over on socials. So just tag at Man City or use the hashtag WNRH. Go on, producer Tom. Okay. He said we can sort out a prize. I thought he was actually going to say cancel the prize. Yeah. Also, I mean, the yellow brother top.
Look at that.
Come on.
The Kappa stuff, look, worst time and worst squad in the club's history, but boy, do we have the best kits.
Is it? It's the complete opposite to what Nedum's talking about.
We had the best kits.
You had all the gear.
No idea. Yeah, I'll finish that off for you. I will finish that off for you. I used to like you, Kel.
No, come on. No.
But yeah, love the Kappa stuff.
Would you ever get asked to do any strange stuff?
Do you know what? I actually enjoyed stuff like that, and I was quite good at it, probably better that than football, which I suppose, in hindsight, it's not the best thing, is it? But you can see some are uncomfortable. I remember doing a little bit of acting as well. We used to do Junior Blue meetings, and I got dragged along. They was doing a production, so yeah, I had to go, and I was a tree. I didn't have words to say. I don't know whether they stuck that on me because I played like a tree, maybe, I don't know, but I used to enjoy doing little things. But it is difficult if you're not used to doing it. I've done a few messages in lockdown videos, and your mind's going, "What? I need to say this, I need to say this," and then you go to say it and you mess a word up, and it's just brilliant to watch when they make mistakes.
Oh,
sure,
I do love.
Do you know any players that are into acting?
Do I know any? No, I'm trying to think. The only ones that I know, obviously, you saw Vinnie Jones go into acting. He kind of made the jump, but there's not been too many.
I've got one for you.
Go
it's a
on.
cracker.
Go on. Beckham, actually.
Forget that. Frank Leboeuf,
Yeah.
full-time actor, actually acts in stage shows, the equivalent of like French West End, and he appeared in The Theory of Everything.
No, he didn't.
Yes, he did.
Really?
There's a stat for you.
Wow.
What about Escape to Victory, boys?
Hey, okay, drop that one in there. Sorry, did you get
Russell Osman? There's a few in there.
There was a couple. I'm trying to think
Pele.
as well. Pele, he's popped up. There was one in Game of Thrones as well, I think. Did David Beckham appear in Game of Thrones? Possibly. Don't know. Yeah, he did.
Ed Sheeran did.
Yeah. So talk about that another time.
Vinny, don't forget Vinny.
Vinny, I think he's probably arguably one of the most successful, isn't he?
And one you probably wouldn't imagine, like going back, I remember playing against Vinny, and he was scary. Playing against the old Wimbledon team, Vinny was scary, and all of a sudden he's transitioned from this thug on the football pitch to he's an A-lister, isn't he? He's like unbelievable.
Do you know the Frank Leboeuf thing? I was lucky enough to speak to him this week, and something he actually said was that he's actually done more appearances now as an actor than he did as a footballer.
No way.
Yes, he has. So he's done over 1,000 appearances.
Was that something
shows.
he was interested in, or just something
he did just towards the end of his career? So his last year at Chelsea, he did something, and then when he left the game, that's all he aspired to be. So he literally went to live in LA. So he went to acting school, and his aim was to try and make it as an actor, and he's been doing it now for the last 10, 15 years.
Back in the day, we was struggling to act to be footballers, weren't we?
Exactly, yeah.
I'm also sorry, I'm sitting going, he's had 1,000 appearances, who's his agent? Although I think out of all of them, it looked like Gabriel Jesus might be the one that makes the jump.
He looks like he's the star of the future, doesn't he?
He really does. Guys, remember, we're still looking for that kit as well. It's shiny purple, and WNRH is that hashtag to get involved with that. Now, would you like to meet a Manchester City player? Would you like to have the chance to sit down and have a 5-minute conversation? Well, guess what? Here at Manchester City, we are giving you the chance to do just that. Check this out.
Enter now. Good luck.
Yes, Citizens Giving and bidding is live and online now. So there's so many brilliant prizes up for grabs. I mean, not just current players as well. There's ex-players that have offered the time as well. We had Jolene talking about that he's offered up a free FaceTime video. But if you'd like to speak to, say, Phil Foden, Ilkay Gundogan, Lucy Bronze, Mika Richards, you can enter for just £5 and you could win that virtual meet. And every penny is going to go towards Citizens Giving Recovery, which supports the global relief fund that the CFG have set up in partnership and in relation to the COVID-19 pandemic. All that money goes to support those really brilliant causes. But you're going to have to be quick. It closes 25th of March, 5 p.m. So go get involved in that, citizengiving.com.
It's a bit of me, that. It's a bit of me. I've not seen Micah for a while. I might have to put some money in myself.
I'm getting involved as well. I wouldn't mind meet a couple of lads.
Good to us all here, just like...
I'm in.
Mika as well. He's better than my age, isn't he?
I only ever see him on TV now. So, you know what I mean? If I'm going to pay the £5, I'll do it.
That'd be good. Can we film it as well? It'd be good content for the show.
For sure.
Now, I've got to say, the tweets have been going off. The phones have been ringing off the hook. Kevin, you are no stranger to this. It's new for you, Nedum.
Okay.
We're talking about the return of a game that went down like an absolute treat. It is, of course, this absolute beauty. Monchengladbach or Manchester, the return. Good, wasn't it, last time, Kev? Do you remember what was the population again of...
I think it was... Well, I did the homework, didn't I? It was 216,000, and you wouldn't throw it in the question so I could win.
I'm beholden to the producers, you know. I'm come from the schooling of the BBC, you know.
Am I supposed to be seeing this or not?
I mean, I don't know. Did you look?
I've seen that something's highlighted. I didn't see what it said, though.
That's fine. Sorry, I forgot the script was out.
So I'll just go with whatever
he says.
Yeah,
it's very simple.
Yes.
The clue is in the name. Monchengladbach or Manchester.
Yes.
Are you ready?
Let's go for it.
Okay, what is furthest away from Paris by car? Is it Manchester or is it Monchengladbach?
Paris.
Look at it, Nate.
I'll throw it out there. I know the answer. Mönchengladbach.
You say Mönchengladbach?
Well, yeah, of course, Monchengladbach.
I was pretending as well. I just wanted to get a copy, mate.
You've gone with it.
Yeah, 'cause I
You
haven't
fell
got a
into
clue.
the trap.
Yeah, I think it is, though.
You'd both be wrong.
Yeah.
310 miles away. Manchester is furthest away, 500 miles away by car.
I went with
from
confidence then.
Paris. Okay, question number 2. Most goals at respective clubs, Mönchengladbach. So is that Jupp Heynckes or City's Sergio Aguero? Who scored more for their
We
respective
translate
club?
your Pankus.
Do you want to pronounce? I think you should
I'll say
pronounce.
Juppheynckes, how about that?
Juppheynckes, yeah.
Juppheynckes,
Who was
yeah.
one of the
Legendary,
leading
player,
goal
yeah.
scorers for Borussia Monchengladbach.
Yeah, I'm guessing that, yeah.
We're looking at
Follow me,
Arsene
I'm right. I'm
Aguero.
100%
What was
right
that? Hang on
now.
a minute. Who scored the most goals?
Juppheynckes, yeah.
For
or
their
Sergio
club, is
Aguero.
it Aguero or
Or Heynckes.
Heynckes?
You just go with me. Just say
No,
Juppheynckes.
no,
Just then we can start
look,
fresh after this.
I think you
Just
might
say
be
yes,
right.
just say yes.
I'll go with Nedum. Yeah, same. I can't
What's
say
this?
his name.
Where's the level of
No, we're playing
competition?
properly
No, but he's
after
right.
this.
This
Okay,
one's
fair
right. He's
enough.
trying to reel me to say Aguero.
Who
Here.
are you saying?
Juppheynckes.
You agree?
Yeah.
Both wrong again.
See, now,
I was gonna
see, that's
say
1 for 1. See, that's 1 for 1 now. There we go. There we go. Now let's play.
Now it's this level
Now let's
plateau.
play. Let's
Aguero's
play.
got 257 and Juppheynckes has got 218. So Aguero.
outrageous.
By the way, the last time we
257.
played this, me and Dickie, it was 3-2. This could end up 0-0.
Yeah.
Penalty
Great
shootout.
viewing at home,
Listen, I'm going to
everybody.
drag you down.
Okay, question number 3. Most career goals. So that was respective clubs, but most career goals, Aguero or Juppheynckes?
It must be in this time.
I'll
mustn't
let you
it?
go first. Yeah, you can be far away. Go on, you say.
You Pancus. Mönchengladbach. It must be. This must be a trick question.
I'll just say Sergio.
It is Sergio. It's Manchester. 3.
Silly
got
question.
sucked right in. You got
I did
trapped.
get sucked in.
You got
Yeah, you
trapped.
did.
Producer's done me a kick there, by the way.
All right, next up.
It's too obvious to be Aguero.
Mönchengladbach or Manchester? Is Manchester's Pep Guardiola or Mönchengladbach's Marco Rose older? Who is older, Marco Rose or Pep Guardiola?
Marco Rose.
You say Marco Rose?
Yes.
To give myself a chance, I've got to go Pep now. Haven't I? Although Pep looks younger. He's beautiful as well, isn't he, Pep? I'm going Pep.
Great shout, Kevin. That makes it 1-1. Pep is 50, Rose is 44. Okay, here we go. The decider. Question 5. Which city has the highest elevation?
Oh, for its population.
Has the highest elevation above sea level? Mönchengladbach or Manchester?
I'm so glad I did a degree in geography now.
Go on, then.
Highest elevation.
Go on, then. Go on, then.
Is it geography? Is elevation geography?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, you're right there.
Yeah, go on.
Mönchengladbach.
What are you thinking?
For the sake of the game, no one wants to see a draw. I've got to go Manchester, haven't I?
Please don't tell me I'm
Appreciate
gonna lose
that.
again.
Kev, you've got the win this time.
Yes.
It's Mönchengladbach.
See, look what I did for the, look what I did for
That's
the crowd,
massive.
because I knew it's Mönchengladbach.
Thank you.
I knew that.
Yeah.
I knew that.
Yeah. All right. Well, we'll see.
Of course.
We're going to be the returner thing. We'll have to do another head-to-head between you two, I think, to settle it.
Should I really be that nervous?
Listen, I gifted you the win. You
I
can thank
can't
me
believe I
later.
got sucked in with that Aguero question. Producer's absolutely done me like a kipper, by the way.
But he's loving it in my ear, absolutely loving it. If you've just joined us, Nedum and Wnrh is with us in the We're Not Really Here studio, as is Kevin Horlock. We've been getting into all things Manchester City versus Borussia Monchengladbach. 10 minutes to go until kickoff. If you've just joined us, let me recap on the team news. Manchester City's 11 is as follows. Edison in net. Cancelo, Diaz, Stones and Walker at the back. Rodri, Gundogan and De Bruyne in a middle 3, and a forward 3 of Bernardo Silva, Mahrez and Foden. We're thinking here in the studio Foden will be assuming that false 9 role. On the bench, very strong, Zach Stefan, Scott Carson, Nathan Ake, Aymeric Laporte, Oli Zinchenko, Benjamin Mendy, Eric Garcia, Fernandinho, Ferran Torres, Sergio Aguero, Gabriel Jesus and Raheem Sterling. I mean, gents, the power in depth of this team is second to none, and I guess we won't spend too long on this because we are game by game, but that is probably our biggest weapon, I'd say, in the chase for all 4 trophies. Do you think?
I think so. I believe that to be able to have potentially 16, 17 players who could be guaranteed starters is special. Obviously creates a different type of headache because how do you manage expectations? But everybody's chomping at the bit to get into the side. Everybody wants to do well, and even when you're not in the team's doing well. The starting team's doing well as well. So you're actually part of something special, whether you're on the bench or on the field, and your opportunity will come. And for City to know that if it's not going well with the starting 11, you can make changes which take you to that next level again. this is, for me personally, watching City like this is a once in a lifetime thing.
Agreed.
And like I'm loving every second of it.
I think we all are. Okay, we've got just under 5 minutes to go till we'll be handing over to the game. So before that, we have time to squeeze in our mystery blue before we get predictions from our guests in the studio. Can we work out who is this week's mystery blue? Here we go, gents. I believe it was Fernando at the weekend. Okay, a name came to my head straight away.
Yeah, I know who that is.
You know?
Yeah, of course, yeah.
Name very confident, Kev.
I've got an idea.
You've got an idea?
I've got an idea. I'm not sure, but...
Okay, we'll set on our ideas in the studio. If you want to get involved in that little game, you know the drill. Very simple. Just sending your guesses to WNRH. I'll bring you some at half-time and we'll reveal the answer at full-time. Okay, gents. Predictions time. Who do we think is going to come out on top and what do we think the score will be? Can we just take a moment to remember your super prediction last time? Got the
so close, yeah.
So close with the goal scorers.
Yeah. So we didn't get it right.
No, but it was.
Sorry, I was just checking.
Listen,
I wasn't sure. I wasn't sure what we were praising.
No, you didn't. You didn't know.
I wasn't sure what we were praising, but that's fine.
We were praising. Kev said 3-0. You got the first two goal scorers, and
right.
Foden missed that chance.
I failed bet.
You had to be here. It was a be here moment, wasn't it?
Yeah.
I think you were all here. You were all here at home.
I'll tell you, he's gone big on it. I hope he gets this right today. Let me tell you.
And for that, Kev, you sit on your prediction. What's your prediction?
You say that, but you got it wrong, so all I have to do is get it wrong as well.
Has Nedum got any scores right yet?
Well, have you got any?
Yeah, I must have done it somewhere. That's what I did. I'm gonna say 3-1, but I'm not gonna name any scorers.
Okay, 3-1 from Nedum.
Yeah, I'm not going to give it the big and the name scorers today. I'm torn between 2 or 3-0, I think. Okay. And I think it depends on what the opposition do. Are they going to come out? If they come out, it's 3. I think we'll be a comfortable win. If they sit in like last game, 2. So I'm going to go 3.
Go 3-0, 3-0 and 3-1 from us in the studio. Well, you know the drill. We'll be finding out full time if anyone is right, and fingers crossed if they are. That does mean we'll be progressing into the next round. So go and get yourselves a brew. Remember, if you've got a little couple minutes out as well, we are looking for that trackie that Nedum was talking about, the Hurt Your Eyes purple.
2007.
2007 is the year to help you, circa 2007. And we're going to be back at half-time and we'll be back at full-time. Now, you can get full commentary of the game, of course, over on the Manchester City app, and come join us and we'll be available on where you are watching us now. Come on, City.
Oh, that's a brilliant ball in, and of all people, it's Bernardo Silva, probably the shortest man on the pitch. What a chance for number 2.
And we arrive in the final third, but in the final third we were not good in our 1-against-1. So in this competition, the opponents didn't give you much chances. You have to score.
Cancelo. Oh, it's another brilliant ball, and Bernardo Silva tees up Jesus, and City do have their second goal. In a very good position to make it through to the quarter-finals of the Champions League.